Here we go. Shelly asks.
Hey, Shelly.
All right. A nice, well, it's not really in question format, but do you have a nice memory of Takaza for all the folks who didn't know him well?
So for those of you who don't know, we lost one of the best of us very recently. And I think it's prudent because he was a happy guy. He was a wonderfully happy guy. I've shared the stage with him many times, and I think he'd want some of the fun memories.
Yeah.
So this show's dedicated to him.
Yeah.
And we're going to finish off with some stories. So Xander, you remember a few.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. I watch a lot of wrestling and stuff, and someone has a moniker, the world's sweetest man, and I think that's a perfect way to describe him. Honestly, that would describe him, the world's sweetest man. He was a great guy, and he would join us on the Dragon show at MFF and have us over. You couldn't find a better host.
Oh my God, that first dinner. Do you remember the very first dinner that he cooked for us?
Oh my God, of course.
That was one of the fun when he realized that he could go for plating. I mean, I was sitting at the table, I could not stop laughing as he had cooked for probably 10 hours that day.
Oh, yeah.
Him and his husband, Duncan, had been cooking all day. He took the plates back because he realized that he could plate them better. And what he finished was, if I remember correctly, a squash soup with deep-fried pork belly and mint, deep-fried mint and scallops, and it looked like something you would eat at a 4-star restaurant. It was unbelievable. And he's sitting down at the table like, oh my God, I cooked it and I plated it properly. And then we look over at him like, why aren't you eating anything? He's like, oh, there's garlic in it.
Jesus. Yeah, I was like, we have to up our gay game because
really,
he was phenomenal at that. And
also one hell of a bartender.
Absolutely.
You remember some of those.
And he didn't even drink.
No.
But he insisted on bartending because he loved to make drinks for people and got an idea of what to give you for a drink and
There was something special about somebody who hadn't, I have to assume at some point he had to try some of the individual ingredients because he always knew just what to make. And then it always felt bad because he'd make the drink and then he'd hand it over to Duncan. He's like, try this and see if it's poison. So by the end of the night, Duncan is 4 sheets to the wind. Yeah. Takaza and me are having a conversation. I'm drunk but functional because I've got a problem. And now he's thrown caution out the window, and he's just like, yep, this bottle, drink. I'm like, epic.
Yeah.
4th level drink.
Yeah, and I'm sure you might know this already, but he helped run, and that's the understatement of the century. But he was con chair for many years, and so was Duncan. And what I was going to say was he had never really found his stage legs before, and he got on stage a lot with you guys.
Yep, he was one of our favorite people to have up for Whose Line Is It Anyway? Mm-hmm. It's one of those things, like a lot of the games in Whose Line, and Xander knows this very well, it's one of the reasons that he doesn't want to go on stage as much for that show because he likes an extra moment to think about it, and that's Xander's strong point.
Yeah.
And then you had Takaza, who would come up there and either take a moment and think about something or come up off the hip with the most ridiculous thing you could imagine. Mm-hmm. And every time he said, I don't know how you came up with that or the path your brain took to go there. I can follow the breadcrumbs. I just don't know how you laid them out like that.
Oh, man.
And he had some moments up on that stage.
And he made what was the show?
Him and Duncan created a furry version of At Midnight.
Thank you.
That they ran that very, very well at First Squared, and I believe they did it another time. I can't remember if they did do it another con, but they have a panel that I love. It's one of my favorite to be on. The Furry Smackdown. The Furry Smackdown is Duncan and Takaza, and that panel is just epic. There's a few of them online. Guys, if you get a chance, check those out. They're just so much fun.
I also I want to share Sorry. One thing I'll never forget is after the end of the first Squared, they invited us up to their room, and they had a party, and basically it was congratulating you and everyone.
Oh, the holy shit you did it party.
Yeah.
Yep.
Basically.
I remember that was one of the first times that I realized what we had done, and they were a huge part of that. They've actually they are every year we make sure that they are taken care of so that they can throw one of the parties at First Squared. Just because, I mean, it's us. I love throwing parties. I love organizing. You enjoy it to an extent.
Sure.
Nothing compares to a Duncan and Takaza party.
No, I can't even.
That it's.
I can't even come close to even trying. Like, I order pizzas, and that's it's like,
and chippies. Don't forget
and
your
chippies. Yes, but no, they go all out, and they always were amazing at that. And
so I wanted to hit two specific stories,
yeah,
and then we'll close it off with this. I've known Duncan and Takaza for quite some time. They were some of those cool people that were always there.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first I talked to them before, but one of the first times I actually had a long drawn out conversation with them was at FCN talking about a theme for MFF, because MFF had just chosen the theme Pirates of Lake Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And we were standing in the hallway talking about things that were on theme, to which Duncan told us, I believe Duncan was the one who said, one of my friends has a boat outside of their restaurant that we could totally put on wheels, and it will fit down the hallways of MFF. And now the three of us are just going about how we could have a pirate ship going down the hallway. And of course, I come up with, well, wait a minute. Pirate ships have cannons. If we fill it with a bunch of bad dragon dildos, we can just shoot them into operations. To which Takaza loses his mind. He is almost just doubled over laughing as we look at him like, it was funny, but he's like, dude, some of those dildos have suction cups at the bottom. Could you imagine them flying through operations, hitting the wall, going,
oh my God.
It was one of the first times. I mean, we stood out in the hallway outside of, I think, Uncle Kage Story Hour, and we were causing a scene. We were laughing so hard.
Awesome. Which
does not compare to, I want to say that Duncan was con chair this year. He was definitely a position at MFF. The very first Too Much Light Makes the Baby Go Blind.
Oh, yes.
Because I was standing in the back of the room. I had helped out at the door, and in the back of the room was Takaza, myself, and Duncan, and we're watching the show, and we are laughing. I mean, if you haven't seen it, Too Much Light, that was one of the best ideas MFF has ever come up with. I love that they invite them every year, but this was the first show, so no one knew what to expect. Like, people had seen their show, but no one knew what they were going to do at MFF.
The vast majority probably didn't know what to expect.
Oh, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
They had, for those of you who don't know what Too Much Light is, they do 30 plays in 60 minutes. They have a clothesline on stage with a bunch of numbers, 1 through 30 hanging from it. And you yell out numbers from the audience, and the number that they hear, they will reach up, grab, and read the back of it, and that is the name of the play they're going to do. Some plays last for a few moments, some plays last long. It's a very fun, very entertaining time. But you get a playbill with what all the numbers pertain to. And number 13 was attention whore. We kept yelling 13. We wanted to see attention whore, but they weren't grabbing 13 because other people were loud or whatever. Well, finally, some random number comes up, and one of the male members of the cast goes to the front of the stage and takes about 10 seconds to start the story. Now, bear in mind, Too Much Light isn't always funny. Sometimes it's really heartfelt. Sometimes it's just an amazing performance. This one was deep. As he started talking about his childhood and the hardships he went through, and 10 seconds in, you know that you're going to cry by the end of this.
Sure.
And at about the 15th second, as he's just getting into the story, one of the female leads from behind the stage ran out, grabbed the number 13 off the clothesline, screamed attention whore, and ripped off her shirt.
Yes.
She was fully topless with her tits hanging out as she ran through the audience. Now, I was standing between two people who are helping run MFF,
Yes.
who had no idea there was nudity in this play. And as one of them is leaning on my shoulder, just losing his mind laughing and going, "We're so fucked."
Oh my God.
Takaza looks over, he's like, "Oh, come on. This is like the first and last pair of tits most of the people in this room are ever gonna see."
Oh my God.
And when she jumped back up on stage, it was Takaza who looked over at me and said, "Oh my God, he never stopped telling his story." And that was something I will never forget because he noticed it and I couldn't believe it. The guy told the story throughout the commotion that lasted the whole time. It was one of the most brilliant things I've ever seen. To share that moment with the two of them, I will cherish that till the day I die. That is just such a great memory.
That's great.
There is one more story
Okay.
that I want to say, has never been told on the Dragon Show. I've told it 1,000,000 times.
Okay.
But it's never been told. I want to say we've never told it on the Dragon Show.
Okay.
Oatmeal.
Ah, yes.
That was Duncan and Takaza.
Yeah, that
was Takaza behind house, back of house, with me and Woody.
Oh, yes.
And some of you might have seen us. Every once in a while, me and Takaza would walk just by each other. We were very busy at cons, but we always take a moment to say hi. And if you've ever seen Venture Brothers with 2 fingers, we did the same thing with 3.
Right.
Because we were back of house at Con Suite. It was Saturday. We were tired.
Now you say when you do the same thing with 3, you're talking about like...
And then touch your fingers together.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Go Team Weirdos.
Sorry, I didn't understand what you were saying.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Like they touch their fingers together for
Yeah,
ventures.
yeah,
We
yeah.
did it with 3. It was like we would say something different every time.
I gotcha.
Well, we're back of house. And Woody's back there. This is the director of finance.
Right.
And they were doing something on the radio where basically somebody would say, DuckTales, and a bunch of people would come back, woo! So the radios were actually, if I remember correctly, after this year, they put somebody in charge of radios. His entire job is to sit listening to the radio, go, cut the idle chatter. Like, that's his entire job, which is necessary. Well, we're back there, and this DuckTales thing has been going on for a while, and basically we're not paying attention to any kind of radio etiquette. So Woody grabs the radio, and he's like, this is Woody. I've got a 418 and the 43 and the 7916 Beverly Hills 90210. And it's just something weird and random, and now it's going back and forth. Now the radio chatters. There's somebody always chiming in, guys, cut the radio chatter. Then other people are being weird and random, and we're kind of laughing. And Takaza turned around and knocked a bowl of instant oatmeal off the counter. And it spilled all over the floor. And I grabbed my radio, it was on my lapel, like, this is Alkali with the head of finance and the guest liaison, which I think that was his job that year. I don't actually remember. Right. We have spilled the oatmeal. I repeat, we have spilled the oatmeal. The radio went dead. And the door... Now, I look over. Woody is looking at me with eyes as big as saucers. Takaza is horrified and laughing. As the door side jump on the radio. This is the door side. All radio chatter stop. Where is the oatmeal? Like... And I look over at Takaza, and he is holding his side and breathing and talking. You know the...
Yes.
And as he's trying to communicate something to me, I get over the radio again. This is the head of the door side. Where has the oatmeal been spilled? Come in now.
Oh, Jesus.
And Takaza finally, oatmeal is code for money. And I look at the floor and think about what I said.
Oh, my
that I am
God.
with the director of finance, and the money has been spilled.
Oh, fuck.
We stayed in back of house until the door side tried to stop, find me, and kill me. They stood there. Takaza was actually great. He actually, because this is a very funny story now. At the time,
Oh, sure.
I thought they were going to kill me. And Takaza, being the fucking warm soul he is, he's just, it's okay, Alkali. It's okay. We'll miss you. We don't need your help next year. He was so nice. Yes. Just like, dude, it's okay. Don't. Oh my God! And this to have that moment, that was why those three fingers happened all the time. So,
Gotcha.
Guys, this episode is to our friend,
Yes.
somebody who will. He's gone, but he will never be forgotten.
Never. No.
Guys, Takaza, we loved you.
We loved you, yeah.
Guys, this is the Dragon Show. Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm Xander.
I'm Alkali.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.